Hello and welcome back to the Japanaholic podcast surrounded by topics all about Japan, anime, and games, discussed by one certified Japanaholic. I am your host, Taylor Fry, and I will quickly mention this out. The past few weeks, this episode's audio quality hasn't been the greatest, I'll admit that. This week onwards, I actually finally got myself a studio microphone. It cost me only $70. It's a Studio Tech, right? Pseudotech. Yeah, Pseudotech microphone. I tried to find the logo. Sorry about that. But it only cost me like $70, and I've tested it a couple times already, and it sounds a whole lot better than my other microphone. So you'll hear a lot less popping noises, thankfully, because I got not one, but two pop filters on here, so the audio may be a little bit more muffled than before, but I'm not entirely sure. But that's not the main topic of this podcast episode. Just a quick note, okay? Last week I hinted that I was going to be doing another one of these anime discussions, because it's been a long time since I did one. In fact, the last time I did this was possibly the first episode of the series. It's not the first episode if you're watching this from YouTube, but it's technically the first on Spotify and everywhere else that has this podcast on it. But I reviewed Eurocamp, and I discussed for 40 minutes why I thought that series was a 10 out of 10 in my book. Well, today I am going to be reviewing another anime series, and I hinted at this one because I talked about it in my underrated anime series, and then I was going to be talking about it. Well, today, it's finally revealed. I am going to be discussing Kokoro Connect, one of my favorite anime series from Silverlink Studios. Now, quick warning here, I will be going over spoilers. I will spoil the entire thing, okay? But this is for people who haven't seen the anime. I will discuss what the anime is, synopsis-wise, and, go over a few characters. And then I will give off a warning when I'm going to start spoiling the entire show. So I will possibly go over the first two episodes, maybe three. And, if you're interested in the series, you go watch it. Because, oh my god, it's such a good series. Okay. So I'll give off a warning when I'm going to start spoiling stuff. So, keep an eye on that if you're wanting to watch the series. If you have already seen the series, then you could ignore this warning. So, Kokoro Connect came out in summer of 2012, so I assume everybody who's listening to this podcast episode has at least seen a couple things from this series, whether it be a few clips or the entire series itself. Because this thing is old, okay? I mean, old in terms of anime shows. Okay, summer of 2012. I'm trying to think of any other shows that came out during that time. I can't think of any of the top of my head. I'll do that later, I guess. So it was made by Silverlink Studios, and it had a total of 13 episodes with 4 extra episodes that premiered in winter of that same. It's either winter or fall of that same year. Could be wrong. So, what is Kokoro Connect all about? Well, it is there are 5 members of this cultural research club: Tachi, Iroi Nagase, Himiko Inaba, Yui Kiriyama, and Aoki. I named off the girls because, the names of Tachi and Aoki they're quite long names. Okay, so there's that. But the reason why I always consider this one to be basically the Bunny Girl Senpai series of 2012 and upwards, before the Bunny Girl Senpai series started, getting publicized, is because this one also deals with supernatural phenomena and romance. Awesome. 2 of the greatest combinations on Earth, am I right, guys? Okay, so this one here doesn't really focus too much on one specific character per arc. In fact, it does each of the phenomenons that happen, because there's 4 phenomenons in the series that I'll go over when I'm actually talking about the series. They all affect all 5 of these people, okay? And it starts off harmless, and then the more you get into the series, the more harmful it gets, especially the final 4 episodes of the series itself. Technically, so that means there's 17 episodes. So okay, there's that. Uh, this series here, okay, you will meet somebody really early on named Heartseed who is controlling these five students who are, they were innocent high schoolers at first, and then once Heartseed was introduced and did all this sort of stuff, was became clear that they're not normal anymore. This show also does have a little bit of comedy to it, from what I've noticed, and it also just gives off a lot of like pro wrestling references because even in the first like episode, you will find if you're a pro wrestling fan, you'll find posters of the Undertaker in their in the research club's room. Oh my god, I laughed my ass off when I saw that because I was like, that's the last thing I expected to see from this show. And to anybody who's looking to get into this series, okay, before I start spoiling everything, because I'm going to keep it short and sweet with how I'm going to describe this before, spoiling it, just know that it does have an ending, okay? With the last 4 episodes, they conclude this series, okay? The first 13 episodes are just like normal 13 episodes, but the final 4 episodes conclude the entire series. So there's no season 2 in the works. Well, not now because of the fact that it's 8 years later, but still, like I said, if you're going into this, just know that you only have to watch 17 episodes for the entire series. And this was written, adapted from a light novel, which had 13 volumes. 13, right? 11 volumes. I was close. So yeah, that'll conclude all of the non-spoilers. So let's go ahead and let's start spoiling this episode, alright? Spoiler alert warning has been activated, and now, from here on out, spoiler alert. Let's get into the show. Alright, so I'm going to quickly start us off by saying I absolutely found this show to be one of my favorite shows out of the entire anime catalog that I've seen. Okay, one of my favorites, okay? So each of the characters I loved so much. Okay, Taichi was amazing. Aoki was awesome. Okay, in terms of like the male characters. Female characters, I don't think anybody could top Inaba in terms of best girl. I loved Nagase a lot, but I really loved Inaba more than I loved Nagase. And Kiriyama was up there as well, but if you watch the series, you knew that Aoki and Kiriyama were going to get together. There was no way that Kiriyama was going to get with Taichi. Come on, who thought that? But so it became a battle between Nagase and Inaba in terms of best girl, and I really loved the airhead feel or the airhead trope that Nagase had, but the whole is it a tsundere? Was she really a tsundere? Because I want to say she was, because she didn't really Inaba didn't really care for Taichi at first. And then you'll find out later at like episode 10 or 11, very, very near the end of the season, that she actually is in love with him. Oh my god, let me tell you. The moment that came out, fist bumps were everywhere for me. Air fist bumps, okay? Loved the hell out of the last 4 episodes of the television thing. I won't talk about the Michi, is it called Michi? Yeah, Michi random series just quite yet. I'll get to that here just in a little bit. I'm mainly talking about the 13 episodic television thing that happened in summer 2012 for right now. So I want to go over each of the arcs real quick before I decide whether or not before I get to Michi Random, which the last arc I'll talk about because that one was in Michi Random. So, the first arc I want to talk about, and this may not be in particular order because, it may not be, I don't know. But the first one, of course, will be the first arc that I want to talk about, which is the first arc of the show, which is the personality swaps. In this arc, which you'll find early on, is somebody will switch with somebody personality-wise and switch into their bodies. Okay, so Taichi will switch into Inaba's body or something along the crazy lines of that. Personally, I really enjoyed this arc, but if I had to rank it from my top four, it would have to be second, maybe third in terms of arcs. I don't know if I liked the last arc more than I liked the first arc, because they were kind of there were some similarities between the first and the last arc for a moment, for like if you kind of dig deep into it. But I don't know. I wouldn't say it's my second favorite. I'm gonna say it's my second favorite arc out of the entire show. Um, I that one to me, I want to say is the most comedic arc, because all the other arcs make everything seem so unbelievably dramatic and stuff like that. Um, and the first arc, it's taken more to the comedic side at like the first two episodes, and then the last two episodes, or the last few episodes that the arc's on, which I think it may be the first four episodes, maybe five. Oh, it is five. Yeah, it is five. 5 episodes. Yeah. Um, they take it to the comedic light for the first two, and then in the final few episodes, it is not comedic anymore with switching bodies. I'm telling you that much. And the whole episode was at the end of episode 4. No, it was 5. It's been a couple weeks since I've seen it. Since I've seen the first few episodes. But that whole the way they ended that arc, holy mother demonetized word, holy crap. Oh my god, I didn't expect anything like that, okay, with Nagase being controlled by Heartseed, and off the bridge she goes. Jesus. Wow. Did I think that she was actually going to die? Please don't make fun of me when I say this. Yes. Like, even though I saw it on the thumbnail that she, like, in like the next few episodes, thanks to freaking Crunchyroll, that she was fine, I was just like, oh my god, there's still that chance. There could be another arc and think of time travel. I don't know. But yes, I will admit that I did shed a tear or two at the end of episode 5. I will admit that. And I'm trying to keep a straight face here. In doing this. That's why it's my second favorite. But speaking of second, the second arc, which was the Desires, the Unleashed Desires arc, where at any given moment, Heartseed will control your body for like a split moment. Not really a split moment, but like will control your body. And whatever you really want at that very moment, whatever you really want something at that very moment, your body just goes and it just won't stop. It's kind of like Deku in My Hero Academia, when at the first part he's all like, oh, I couldn't stop my body, I wanted to save them, my body would I hate that series. I don't hate it, but I'm not interested in My Hero Academia. But going back on topic here, this one I didn't really find too entertaining, to be quite honest. Possibly it's my least favorite arc. I mean, there were some big moments in it, but at the same time, most of the stuff that happens in these arcs is like, it could be so unavoidable that it feels so forced at times. I'll talk about that near the actual end of the arc, end of the series in Michi Random. But continuing on with Unleashed Desires arc, I really didn't like this arc. I mean, I didn't hate it, but I was just like, it went on too long, because the Unleashed Desires was pretty stupid. But it was, I didn't hate it. Okay, it didn't make me want to drop the series. It was just like, well, got your desires unleashed, even if they were bad. So, but the one thing I will say is the hilarious way they introduced this arc, which was Inaba undressing in front of Taichi and forcing herself onto him. Come on, that was good. As an Inaba best girl person, okay, come on. Let's go. I was a huge fan of Inaba after the first episode, okay? I like Nagase and there was a close battle until like episode like 5 or whatever, where the kiss. Mm. That was the seed planter. Loved it. Oh my god. Okay, so to the third arc, which is the time reversal arc, I think that's what I'll call it, where each one of the at a specific rate of time between 12 o'clock to 5 o'clock at first, a few random people will be um thrown back a couple years into their past, or they'll turn into like an 11-year-old or a 5-year-old or a 2-month-old, or that sort of stuff. The only one that does not have this phenomenon happen to him personally is Taichi, because it's not Heartseed who's actually controlling this one, but instead O2, or number 2. I call him O2, but number 2. And you'll find out real quick that Taichi has to keep this one under wraps, because if any of them find out, the phenomenon will just continue and continue and continue and get worse and worse. Okay. Which ultimately ends up happening because, of course it does. But I found this one to be possibly my third favorite arc. I loved it a whole lot more because it was at first it was mainly because it was a refresher. It was like, oh, I dealt with like what felt like 100 episodes of the Unleashed Desires arc, which is like another reason why I didn't really like the Unleashed Desires arc, was because that felt way too long in my opinion. Like it felt like 6 episodes went by of that arc, and maybe 7. So that one went on a little too long, and the time reversal one cuts deep. It cuts really deep. I'll talk more about that when I go over characters, okay? Because I want to go more in depth about the characters later, but I'm just describing arcs right now. But this one cuts really deep in terms of like histories and character development. This one's probably the best one in terms of character development, because you learn about characters' histories. Even though you already know a lot of it by now, you get to have like a taste of what they were like as a kid, like Inaba, Nagase, Kiriyama, and Aoki, and how all of them were in the past, while as Taichi just is a witness to everything. And now we get on to my personal favorite arc, how should I name this? The Thought Hearer? Thoughts Hearer? I don't freaking know. But it possibly has a name and I don't know. But in this arc, you can hear one's thoughts at a random time. This one to me was the most interesting and most impressive arc. Not just because it was in Michi Random and it was the last arc, which ultimately ended up, we have a winner, ding ding ding, ring the bell. Okay. But it wasn't just that. It was also because of the fact that this one just destroyed Nagase as a person. Okay? And if you were a Nagase fan, you just felt horrible for her. And the only flaw that comes with this is the ending of episode 3 in Michi Random to mainly the whole episode of Michi Random, episode 4. But at least half of it was, I didn't like that. Okay? Because I'm an Inaba person, Inaba girl. I didn't like that at all. Okay. But this one, in the Michi Randoms, becomes more and more clear that Inaba loves Taichi, and because of the whole like thoughts and stuff like that, Inaba's thoughts got transferred over to Taichi at the very end, where at that moment Inaba just kept screaming Daisuke, okay, which is love. I love you, I love you, I love you. Just kept on screaming it and screaming it. She tried to deny it, and then Taichi was like, "You want to go out?" And then the moment that Inaba nodded her head yes. Ooh, 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 let's go. I have the widest smile. Like, it is reliving this freaking anime was so amazing. Keep in mind, I watched the entire Michi Random series at 3 o'clock in the morning. So I was not tired, but I was not awake. But I still remember that entire thing. That entire Michi Random series. Oh my god. Oh! If anybody here is a Nagase or a Kiriyama fan, like, best girl is one of those two girls, listen, I understand you. I understand you, bro. But listen, Inaba got the man, and Kiriyama also technically got the man, okay? It didn't really say that they started dating, but you obviously know that they were dating by the end of the series. Oh my god, it was so amazing how the Michi Random series ended. How the entire series ended, to be blunt. Man, oh man. It's like, okay, would you, before I get into characters, would have been fine had you not watched the Michi Random series. If you went without the Michi Random series, would it still satisfy you? In my book, not really. Because they did kind of end it in a way that was like, oh yeah, we're still continuing this series. So, if you were like, I don't want to watch the Michi Random series, I don't care about that. Well, you missed 4 great episodes, okay? But I don't think I would have been satisfied had I not watched the Michi Random series, especially because I knew the Michi Random series was going to end the series. So I was like, okay, well, if it's going to end this series, I want to know how it ends. I'm not going to start a series and then not find out how it ends. That's not right. That's not right. So, yeah. Let's go into characters, shall we? I'm going to go over each of the 5 characters. And I'll start with Taichi first, and I'll do Aoki next. I'll do the males first. So, Taichi. Okay. Now, keep in mind, I did listen to both the subbed and dubbed versions of this show. I watched a few episodes of the dub. That's why, I can safely say I kind of found Greg's voice in the English dub for Taichi to be just kind of like me with how nasally it was. And it was weird to hear that. It sounded more nasally than the subbed version, which was weird. And if I had to choose whether subbed or dubbed, I think I may, for once, go for dubbed, because this actually has a pretty good dubbed in terms of, like, the characters and stuff like that, but I still watched most of it in subbed, okay? If I have to rewatch it, I rewatch it in dub, and let me tell you, the dub is good, okay? So if you're a dub listener, or if you don't like dubs, still give it a shot. It's good dub. But Taichi's the most sympathetic out of all the 5 of them, and he tries to help out every single one of them in every way possible, but it kind of backfires on him in a few ways, and I really enjoyed his character a lot, okay? And I understand that he, was just a high schooler and he made a lot of mistakes, but dude, he's the most sympathetic son of a gun I've ever seen in my entire life, and possibly one of my favorites, okay? But I really have to give Aoki the title for the best male, because he was an amazing guy, all right? He had his fun moments, and he loved, and he was one of those characters that got what's that character from Nisekoi? Oh, I can't think off the top of my head. I just finished that series, by the way, not too long ago, and I just can't remember that other male's name. Crap. I'll think about that probably next week, probably. Anyway, I really found Aoki's personality to be really good, okay? Even if he does have his own pathetic side, okay? I love that so much about him, because he had, he's an idiot in one way, but he was super, caring in another way. And it just, in my eyes, that made him a little bit better than Taichi. But it was a tough cookie to try and get that one. between those two. It's not so much for the girl cast, but I will go with, because I haven't talked about her much already, Kiriyama. While I did know that she was not gonna win, obviously, because Aoki already claimed that he was hers, and they weren't officially dating at the end of the series, but you knew they were going to. Okay, unless a massive ass swerve happened and Michi ran him, which it didn't. Okay, but she does have she had a fear of boys at the beginning, and then after a kick to the freaking nuts, ow! I felt that, by the way, when Kiriyama got kicked in the balls because of the physical body swap. That hurt. That hurt. Ow. Okay, it's 2D animation, but I still felt that as a person. I hate that. And because of that, Kiriyama's fear of males slowly disintegrated. And near the end of the time reversal arc, you get to see a nice little hug between her and Aoki, which was amazing. So, what do I think about her in terms of like Seiyu wise? I mean, English dub, she was okay, not the greatest, but I still found her amazing compared to other dubs that I've seen, and her Japanese counterpart was just as good. Okay, and I do recommend. Do I recommend subbed or dubbed version of Kiriyama? Possibly dubbed, but that's just me. There were a lot of other girl characters that I could talk about too. And I'll talk about Heartseed later too. Oh God. Oh man, Heartseed was something. Let me flip and tell you about Heartseed. Actually, that is somebody who I didn't forgot to mention. Because I was mainly thinking about only the five main characters. Sorry, I forgot to talk about Heartseed. I mean, Heartseed controls a lot of characters, like Mr. Go, for example, who was, a nice teacher and, just a teacher. But Heartseed, let me tell you, he didn't mean no physical harm, right? Well, yeah. Watch episode 5 and tell me that again, please. Tell me that again. Fucking hell. Heartseed is just the devil. He's not like a very, very bad villain or a very, very good villain in the aspect of like he will take over the world and stuff like that, like in other supernatural kind of anime shows that have a villain controlling everything. But he was still that kind of person that was just like, oh, I'm gonna screw with your 5 lives. Can I speak English, please? I'm gonna screw with the five of you for the rest of my life and stuff like that. And turns out that just a couple of years of high school, but continuing on, it was just like, God, that was horrifying. For those 5, I would not really want to be in that position at all if I was any of those 5. Especially during the last arc where you could hear somebody's thoughts and stuff like that, which I didn't really say this much in the arcs, but I'll quickly mention this off right now. When I first heard about this arc, the only thing I could think of was Randy Orton's theme song in my head, voices by Ref Theory. Let me tell you, that's all I could think of, because you could hear a random ass voice in your head giving you just a random thought. Okay, at any moment in the day, you will get a random thought from somebody, and it was always a bad thought, or always like something that talked down on somebody. But I always thought of this arc, and it's like, what if they just thought the most randomest of things, and it gets transferred, or it gets transmitted to somebody at random? Can you just think of that? Like, think about all the random, like, things that you could possibly think of, and have one of those random things get transmitted to somebody random, or all 5 of them at the same time. You could be thinking about like dinner, or you could think about another person or whatever in that way, 18 plus way. And it gets at one moment randomly transmitted to everybody. And it's just like, wait, what? You heard that? Oh, sorry. I was just, it was just a stupid thought in my mind. Sorry. Like, in a way, they could have made this, instead of it being like, in a way, They could have at least had a few moments to where it was hilarious, but that entire arc was all serious transmissions. There was maybe a few, but I maybe counted like maybe two, like hilarious thoughts, if any. Okay, so I feel like that's the only flaw about the thoughts arc, as well as the episode wise. But like, come on, it could have been a whole lot. Like, in a way, you could have improved the comedy side of the show by doing that. But I'm not gonna say it brought down the series, because if it's supposed to be a drama-ish series like the Bunny Girl Senpai series, then you know what? Maybe comedy's probably not going to be focused too much on that. But just think about that if you ever had that kind of arc happen to you in real life. It's like any moment in time you'll hear a random voice in your head, which would scare me at any moment in time. I would just be like sitting at my desk writing something on the piece of paper, and I just get a random thought in my head. I could hear it as loud as somebody talking into a microphone, like 2 feet away from a microphone. I'm describing what I'm doing right now. But it's like I'm writing my stuff down, and I just hear a random thought. Dude, I would scare the shit out of me. It'd be like a horror movie. It's just like, hi, how are you doing? Ah! Or it's like a random thought coming into your head. It's like it could be like so out of context too. It could just be writing like math and stuff like that, and then a random thought about like somebody from across the classroom just thinking about, or somebody just like thinking about like science or whatever. And that could just screw up a person's mentality if that ever happened in real life. So yeah, think about that, folks. But continuing on with Heartseed, talking about characters actually, I I didn't really. Heartseed is not the most villainous villain to have ever be a villain, but he's still a villain nonetheless. And I expected him to do a whole lot worse in a way, but I'm like thankful that he didn't do much worse than episode 5. Okay. So I talked about Heartseed, Kiriyama, Nagase. She she really reminded me of Huey from K-On! At first, and then once everything just started happening with the arcs and stuff like that, it became more and more clear that she was just doing it because she wanted to. She was like putting on a mask or something. She was trying to find her like her normal self or whatever. But if you know her backstory, you know it is a terrible backstory, and Michi Random shows that as well in the final 4 episodes, where she completely loses her happy side of things and just goes into a complete, like, an utter bitch in a way. Oh great, I have to tick the explicit box. I think I already had to do that once, if not twice already. But she just had a terrible backstory. Like, not terrible, like, as in writing wise, but she just, oh man, it felt really bad for her. And you kind of, in Michi Random, you also feel this with Inaba, because when those two were talking to each other about, like, their issues and stuff like that, Nagase was like, Inaba, you try to get me and Taichi together, and then all of a sudden you come out of the blue and just say that you love him and you're trying to go for him now, and how does that make me feel as a person? It's like, you, like, at first it was like I kind of saw this coming, but at the same time Nagase did say that she wasn't going to let it get to her at first. Okay, if you remember, I think it was like episode 9 or episode 10 where we find out that Inaba loves Taichi, that Nagase said that she wasn't going to let it get to them. Okay, they'll just gotta battle it out. But, and then everything happens with Michi Random. It's like, yeah, even that moment was, she was putting on her, like, mask or whatever, doing her fake self. She, the entire time wanted Taichi, but, man, I feel really bad for Nagase, because she was a good character, but she just had like very sad moments and stuff like that. And I mean, during the time reversal arc, when she was like, I don't know, like 14 years old, 11 to 14 years old. I can't remember which one it was. That she was like very mature and very responsible and stuff like that. And, it was all because of her stepdad or whatever that that man was that entered the violent person that she talks about a lot. Oh man. She has quite the deep backstory. And only a fool will not feel bad about her backstory and stuff like that. Um, well, I'm gonna finally talk about my girl, Inaba. Best girl of the entire series. And if I had to put it on her tier list, probably B. Or at least A. I'd say A. I'm not gonna give her like an S or anything higher than an S. Because she was a tsundere. And at like the first in a way I kind of felt like she was going to work up her feelings and stuff like that towards Taichi near the end. And I was rooting for her the entire way. Not gonna lie. Especially at the end of episode 4. Wink, wink. Man, oh man. I loved this character so much. And she was such of a overthinker at times. Like, even during, like, the first arc, she was extremely terrified of what was going to happen with, people switching bodies and stuff like that. Couldn't blame her at times. But, during like many of the other arcs, just like all the arcs in general, she was an overthinker and she would stress herself out. And, she just didn't really want to like hurt. You'll find it out in like episode 9 or 10. Like I said before, when, she finds out that, when Nagase finds out that Inaba loves Taichi, that the only reason why she doesn't want to go for him, why Inaba doesn't want to go for Taichi is because she just doesn't want the status quo or the whatever of the 5 of them to break into millions of pieces due to relationships and stuff like that. She just wants to stay friends. She just wants to have all 5 of them just not, be broken up because of a relationship or whatever. And you felt bad for her, of course. Like every single arc, you feel bad for all the characters at some point, including Taichi. But Inaba, let me tell you, the Michi Random series, while like 2 episodes were focused on Nagase, the other 2 were mainly also focused on Inaba, especially the last 2. And the final scene, like the final few scenes of Michi Random, where you could see Taichi and Inaba at like a what the hell was it? It was like a cafe. Oh my god, it was so amazing. And I loved the hell out of those last few scenes. And I just couldn't tell you how happy I was. Like, the smile on my face went farther than ear to ear. It wrapped around my entire head and, like, did an entire lap around to the point where my entire face had a circle around where my mouth should be because I was smiling that much. Well, that was the biggest smile I've ever had in my entire life. See, I'm a sucker for relationships, but when best girl wins the relationships, it's the biggest win out of everything you could ever win in that aspect, I guess. Okay, other relationship shows that I've seen, like Nisekoi and As the Girlfriend, Minor Girl Senpai, all those kind of things. Ranking the Kokoro Connect series out of a lot of the romance shows that I've seen is difficult. Like, I mean very difficult, because I can't really put it in one spot and not think of putting it into a different spot. Okay, because it's easily in my top 5 because of the fact that character development is incredible. Character development goes from like nothing, and thanks to these, I hit my microphone, goddammit, to these arcs, just spikes to like at least like an 8 or whatever. And I'm at this point right now where I'm going to start scoring the entire series, what I think of the show. Like, okay, I'm gonna rank this show off of a couple categories. I want to say 5, but I could be maybe 4. Animation, characters, basically character developments. Okay. Oh, actually, hold on. Let me separate characters and character development because maybe just character for like personality wise, you know. Story. I'm trying to think of anything else. Maybe like OST, music. Just something basic. We'll go for 5. Yeah. Animation wise, it's a Silver Link Studio freaking show. It's going to be incredible. Now, Silver Link does have a few flops here and there. Kokoro Connect is one of their best. One of the best. I give animation a 7 out of 10. It's not the best, but I will not say it's the worst. I'll give it a 7 out of 10, okay? So, characters, in terms of personality, you got the mix of everything. You got the serious kind, you got the airhead kind, you got the dramatic one, you got the stress, you got the athletic one. That's what I was thinking. So, a mix of everything, but they do also mix up their personalities quite a bit, not just because of the whole personality switch arc. Not because of that, just because of that. So, and because of the characters and the personalities and all that, I want to see characters will get, I'd say the characters get an 8, okay? In terms of character development, like how well the characters were developed in the series, man, oh man, that one will get a 10 out of 10 because you can't beat that kind of development where every single person, you learn the backstory of every single person, you learn the flaws of every single person, and you learn how the other characters adapt to that. Amazing character development. In terms of story, the story was just another another one of those rom com, yeah, kind of a rom com, but it was like a harem at some points as well because there were 3 girls that had a chance to get with 2 guys. One of them was not going to win, and unfortunately that was Nagase. But for it to not really focus too much on romance and mainly focusing on just trying to survive the crazy stuff that's happening in their lives, I am probably going to give story a 7. Not going to say much about that. I mean, it's a good story nonetheless, pretty deep in many cases, but still a 7. Still good nonetheless. Now, music wise, like OST wise, like openings and endings and background music, I don't know why I want to rank these in a show, but I think usually if it has a good OST or at least a decent OST, it helps out the anime quite a bit. This one had the most 2012 openings, the most 2012 endings. Just, it wasn't anything special. I mean, to be honest, not a whole lot of animes back then had many memorable openings and endings. I'm, obviously what's the word I'm looking for? Excluding a couple like memorable shows, of course, but for like many of the shows that are like underrated, people don't really talk about them too much. When I watch them, it's like there's some shows that just whether they flop because of story development or whatever, I sometimes point to this music, to the openings. If I'm not hyped after the openings and if I'm not jamming out to any of the ending songs, then it's not a good show. I'm kidding when I say that, but OST wise, give it a 6. Wasn't the greatest thing in the world, but it was still good show nonetheless. So if I average out those 5 scores, I get a 7.6 out of 10, which is definitely what I give the series. Definitely a good series if you are wanting some supernatural romance, kind of like in a way I've said this before, if you enjoy the Bunny Girl Senpai series, okay, if you really enjoyed that series for the supernatural romance side of things and not just like the openings and the animation, you will adore the hell out of Kokoro Connect because the characters all just personality wise, if they just fit so well, okay, and there's some comedy sprinkled in there just like in Bunny Girl Senpai, so don't think you can not find much comedy. There's a good chunk of comedy, but since it is a drama, it's not, I don't think it's as much as the Bunny Girl Senpai series. I mean, the main male protagonist is not as much of a thug as much as Taichi or Aoki, but still, nonetheless, probably one of my absolute favorite romance series. Top 5 best romance, at least top 5. Possibly top 3. So I think I'm going to wrap it up there with anime discussions with Kokoro Connect. I'm hoping that this microphone at least sounds a whole lot better, because I bought this not too long ago, and I was just waiting for it to come to my doorstep. I wanted to wait to record this episode until I got this new microphone. So, and let me also say that not only this, I wanted to wait to finish the series until I had a brand new Xbox Power Brick, because I was watching Kokoro Connect. And then when I went over to switch to YouTube, my Power Brick, I don't know what the hell happened. The first time, like I've had 3 Power Bricks for my Xbox. I've had one that overheated, unfortunately. And then when I got the new one, it made a weird loud noise, and then the light turned red. So I don't know if that overheated or if something just mechanically broke inside that thing. Either way, I had to buy a new one, and that one just shipped to my house like not too long ago. So, but I still ended up finishing Kokoro Connect at my mom's place because she had a Roku TV. Because I don't watch animes on my computer as much, or I never watch it on my phone unless I have like nothing else to watch it on. I'm in the mood for watching the show. So I only watch it on like TVs from like my Xbox or my computer screen at the very, very few times that I do. So yeah, this one was a bit of a struggle to get this episode recorded at times. So thankfully I finally finished with this one. And I will probably do more anime discussions, possibly like once every other month, if not once a month. And I originally wanted to do a vodcast for this episode, but with how scarce I am with time right now, I won't have enough time to edit this. I wouldn't have enough time to I wouldn't be able to do it. So I do want to start implementing vodcast every once in a while, because I know a lot of people would probably enjoy watching vodcast, like videos and stuff like that on my YouTube channel with it. So I could potentially do that soon, but that's difficult to do when I kind of want to put on like some like B-roll, like not really B-roll, but like some pictures and stuff on the background in case anybody wants to actually watch the thing. But I don't know. I'm not much of a podcaster in the way. I'm just a podcaster. So I do appreciate the support for this podcast though. Okay, it's starting to grow a little bit more and more by the day, and I'm happy about that. Okay, 2020 has been quite the year. And I know that this podcast will only grow in terms of like audience and stuff like that as the year goes on, hopefully. If you're listening to this part of the podcast right now, just please, like, share this out if you could possibly do so. Like, if you're, just get some, if you have people who are interested in listening to podcasts about anime or Japan, send them this episode, or send them another episode like the How to Learn Japanese video, which was last week's episode. Next week, I'll be doing more anime news topics, so that'll be freaking awesome, because I haven't done an anime news thing in quite some time, and there's quite a bit of news that I want to talk about in terms of not only Japan, but anime. So anyways, guys, thank you all so much for tuning in to this week's episode of the Japanaholic podcast. If you're listening to this on YouTube and you enjoy the anime discussions, go ahead and leave some suggestions for animes that I could discuss. If I have seen the series, or if I'm just close to finishing the series, I'll probably end up doing it in next month's episode. I'll probably do once a month, starting this month, at least in the middle of the month. So not really middle of the month, but you get what I'm saying. Thank you all so much for tuning into this week's episode, and I'll see you next Wednesday, 10:30 in the morning, Eastern Daylight Savings Time, for another episode of the Japanaholic podcast. My name is Taylor Fry, the certified Japanaholic, signing off. Good night, everybody.